So I own more than 10 electric guitars. When and why do I reach for my Gibson SG Special? So I've owned this 68 Gibson SG Special since 1972, which was the year I joined my first band. And this was my only electric guitar for over 20 years, so I played a lot of gigs during that time. Mostly rock, but actually a lot of jazz too. So yes, jazz on an SG, it actually worked. So my whole rig was this guitar, a 68 Super Reverb amp, and a very early Electro-Harmonix muff fuzz that plugged right into the guitar jack. So that was it for hundreds of gigs. So this SG is really a workhorse. I mean, it did the job. It took quite a few knocks along the way. I mean, at one gig, I broke off one of the tuners, so I upgraded the whole set. At another point, I had to replace the original vibrola tailpiece when it cracked. But amazingly, this guitar has never needed a refret. And that kind of blows my mind because it still has the lowest action of any guitar I've ever owned. So it's definitely a testament to the materials and the build quality of Gibsons during the 1960s. I also have a 64 Gibson J50 acoustic, same indestructible level of quality. So, little history. Gibson started making SGs in 1961. And by the way, SG is an acronym for solid guitar. So there were 4 models. The SG Junior, sometimes known as the TV model, had a single P90 bridge pickup. There was the SG Special with 2 P90s. And the more expensive SG Standard had 2 PAF humbuckers. And then the top of the line SG Custom had 3 humbuckers. But you know, there must actually be something special about the SG Special, because this model has been in continuous production since they first rolled it out in 1961. So that means there are over 60 years of SG Specials out there. Now, I always think of 3 iconic guitarists of the late 60s, early 70s who really cemented the SG Special as a legendary rock guitar. First one is Pete Townshend of The Who, because he smashed and tossed away a whole lot of cherry red SGs. That was in and around the period of Live at Leeds and Tommy. Number 2, Carlos Santana. Like Townshend, he wailed on an SG Special in front of 500,000 people at Woodstock. And then there's Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath. So Tony's a lefty, right? And he actually lost the tips of the middle fingers of his fretting hand in a work accident. Believe it or not, it didn't stop him. You know, he actually developed his own prosthetic fingertips, and he started detuning his SG to make it easier to play and bend strings. That gave it that extra low growl. I think that's one of the reasons that Iommi is usually credited as the first metal guitarist. So the word special is right in the name. So what makes an SG like this special? So this is an original from 1968. It has 2 P90 single coil pickups. This is what's called the large guard or the batwing pick guard. Obviously spans most of the upper bout. Solid mahogany body and the neck. The neck is really shallow. It has a binding like an SG Standard, but it does not have a crown inlay, and it doesn't have fancy trapezoid fret markers. I actually prefer understated dots myself. So I played this guitar for about 20 years. By the mid-90s, I was pretty tired of it. I think I was kind of over the little devil horn thing. And I really wanted to have the thicker tone of humbuckers. So for the next 20 years, I barely touched this guitar. I think I used it for a couple solos on albums I was producing. But for the most part, this became a decoration. It actually lived on a wall of my studio in Laguna Beach. But hey, it's a couple decades later now. Everything old becomes new again, right? So 3 years ago, I decided to give this old guitar some love and attention. And I gotta say, I never liked the vibrola tailpiece, because even though it gave me a whammy bar, it really messed with the tuning stability. So I brought this to my luthier, and I asked him to do a setup, but I also wanted him to modify it the way Pete Townshend always modified his SG Specials. Wanted him to take off the vibrola and then wrap the strings around the bridge instead. So when I got the guitar back, I actually couldn't believe the difference. I mean, I loved it. And right away I started reaching for the SG again. So I want to tell you a little bit why that is. I mean, one reason is tone, right? P90s really are magic to my ear. And I really didn't appreciate that until I came back to them after so many years away. Because really, with or without effects, P90s have this thick but not too thick voice. And they seem to sit well in any mix. So listen to the P90s clean tone in this clip. This is me playing clean rhythm on the SG through a stereo tremolo effect.
You're gonna sail away, yeah, 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 yeah. Sail away, sail away, sail away.
Okay, here's another side of the P90s, just a little added grit. This is from my cover version of Everybody's Talkin'. So the second reason I keep reaching for the SG is just how easy this guitar is to play. I mean, it's easiest playing guitar I've ever owned. So if I need to play a solo and it's going to stretch my limited lead skills, you know, I bring out the SG. Or if I need to play something way high up the neck, I mean, look at this access, you know, it's like all neck, right? So I used it for a whacked out lead solo on my band Cosmic Spin's cover version of Time of the Season. Take a listen. Today, I'm reaching for the SG Special again. I want to lay down a lead solo on a new song called Half-Life. So I recently made a video about the songwriting and production process of Half-Life, and in the video, which right here, I explain how I actually got John Lennon to play Mellotron on the track. I'm talking about the real John Lennon. All the main parts are recorded, but right near the end there's this big build, and I've been imagining what I would call a vertical lead solo. So what I mean by that is that I want it to go from low to high and back. So it's vertical, right? Now on the guitar, I mean, unless I hold it this way, it's like low to high, right? So at any rate, if I'm going to be going up high, up here, it's got to be the SG. And I really want this to have a lot of dirt and pickup noise. So here goes.
Trying to find your soul, yeah.
Right, there it is, the 68 Gibson SG Special to the rescue. Love to know what you think of SG Specials and that P90 tone. So please tell me in the comments. Check out what other people have to say, you know, talk amongst yourselves, right? And before you go, take a sec to make sure you've subscribed and hit the bell, and visit guitardiscoveries.com. You're going to find about 150 videos like this one. I share a lot of my favorite gear, along with shortcuts and tips on singing, songwriting, guitar playing, and more. Now, if you'd like to support what I'm doing, please consider becoming a Guitar Discoverer on Patreon. It truly means the world to me, as little as $5 a month. All right, thanks for watching. Keep making music and keep on discovering.